Yep. Okay, that's it. We're live. All of you, Margaret.
All right, fantastic. So we are now on record. Welcome to the meeting. We would like to we'd like to welcome a couple of guests. We have pro bono here. Greenhill. Which we'll get to. Added a few. We're kicking off the disaster preparedness. First Saturday. That will happen in Washington. Jefferson Park. And we're really excited about that. For Andrea and the committee. Hand raise here. It works. Just as well. And we'll call rotation of.
Yeah, like that.
Hi. Correct. And there is a chat button, correct?
We have a few technical difficulties. If you could stick with us for a minute, that would be great. We appreciate it. Thank you. Hi, Cindy.
We're back.
Want the transcription as well. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So I've rerouted it to my laptop. So Elliott Bald is all of us.
So my phone just told me I was muted because a lot of people are on the call.
If you turn your mic off, I have this running through my laptop.
So we can't see on the screen. Andrew?
You can now. I got one of those classic MacBooks. Well, here we go. All right, so sorry, everyone. We can go back to our regular programming here.
Yes, we will go back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, fantastic. So we have 10 minutes. We're getting a little bit of a late start, but that's all right. We have 10 minutes of public comment as we start every meeting. Could you guys all hear me? Yes, please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Elliot. Yes, let's give him a hand. So we always have the first 10 minutes are public comment. So do we have any public comment from anyone online? In a minute. Please just raise your hand or take yourself off mute if you have anything you want to talk about. Fantastic. So I know that Elliot has a program to talk about that he's pretty excited about, actually, and he would like to kick off about the camps.
Yeah, exactly right. So the Whitaker Community Council is looking to garner more revenue. Currently, we're heavily grant-based for implementing all of our projects. So something we're looking to implement is setting ourselves up a give account with Bottle Drop. So I noticed in my Bottle Drop account, I have $50 just sitting idle there. And I was thinking, I wonder if I could donate this. You can donate this. We just haven't set ourselves up as a nonprofit through their system. So we're currently doing that this week. And we'll send out a big announcement that now you can donate your balance to us. And we'll also be doing fundraisers. So something I do is go and clean up trash around the neighborhood. I might distribute some blue fundraising bags to businesses where you can collect cans, and we might also, if you don't have already a can dispenser, we might purchase them and set them up at businesses. And then we get all that revenue and pump it back into the community through our projects. Gives us flexibility. Sometimes grants are really rigid on what we do, and sometimes we have ad hoc issues that come up. Say, oh, my building just got graffitied and I'm sick of buying paint. Can somebody please help me? Sometimes we're really hamstringed because we only have cash in grant accounts right now. So having that donation, that baseline to really answer the call for the community, that's what we're looking to do. And so I hope you consider donating your Bottle Drop balances to us in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. And also, Elliot is starting a new land trust committee and is looking for people that would like to join. So he's going to take a minute and tell you all about that.
Cool. Another minute. I got to chew first.
Did you get this wall?
I did. I'm good. I'm in the zone now. I'm ready to go. So we are looking to start a community land committee. This is going to be modeled off a community land trust structure. Since our membership is already so broad and community-based, we think we can just use our own membership to start a structure like this. What we're looking for is we want to hold land for community assets and basically have, you see a lot that's going to be redeveloped. We want the community to have a say in what gets done there. And through that, we purchase the land, and say if we don't want to develop it ourselves, we sell a land lease. So that's great. That means somebody can come in and build a building, get a mortgage, and we still own the land that's under that building. the community owns the land. The community has first right to purchase that land. If say 10 years, somebody wants to sell, we can then purchase that property back, purchase the building, and then redistribute it according to community needs. You know, so much of our population are renters. I'm a renter. It gives the community just a little bit of power over their neighborhood and over what gets done. Do we need more housing? Do we need more art studios? Do we need more parking? We as the community can decide all those things and use vacant land and develop it ourselves and not have to worry about making a profit and being cash flow positive year one. The community says we need this and we just need to cover our costs. We don't need to make a profit off this. So that's something I'm looking to start. First meeting is gonna be next week. If you're interested, please email us. Otherwise, we're currently figuring out what time we should meet. If you have any input, if say, hey, I can only meet Thursday at 6, please email us and we will make sure it's that time. Yeah.
Fantastic. And as well, please watch for a post regarding the committee. It personally is my goal, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later, is to the Whitaker Community Council is anyone that lives, works, owns property within the Whitaker. We are the board, but the council itself is our community. So for me, my goal is to involve as many people from the community as we possibly can, because we're all vested and we want something to say about what happens with the people that live here, that come here, that come and shop and do whatever. So watch for a post from Elliot, and he will make a little announcement. It'll be on our social media. We'll probably email it to our email list. And if you are not on our email list, please put your email in the chat. So we do now have a monthly newsletter that goes out via email. If you are here and you do not have, and you do not get the monthly email list, I forgot to bring the sign-up sheet.
Oh, okay, we can move those.
And then you would like to be included on that monthly email list. We talk about announcements, we talk about committees, how you can actually get involved in what's happening within the community and have something to say, because we all have a voice. And that's what the council wants to do this year, is to give everyone that lives here, works here, owns property here, wants to give everyone a voice. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Do we have any other public comment before we get started? Going once, going twice? Okay, fantastic. So we actually are pretty close to being on time. We are kicking off our disaster resiliency event that's happening this weekend at Washington Jefferson Park at the basketball courts. Last year we did it and it was raining, but we were under the bridge, so we were safe. This year, guess what? It's going to be 80 degrees and beautiful outside. If you haven't had a chance to go check out the dog park, what a great day to do it. So there are some things happening with that, and our public safety committee, I mean, I'm impressed myself by some of the ideas that they came up with. So I'm going to hand it over to Doriandra, who is our executive director. And we have some guests tonight that are going to, that are participating in the disaster resiliency event. And she's almost ready to start. Julie, are you online?
I believe she is. Yeah, there she is.
So, please, everyone that's online, also be sure, we do keep attendance who's here, who's not here. Since we are a nonprofit as well as a neighborhood association, we need to know who's attended. If you work, live, or own property in the Whitaker, and what your connection is, or if you just decided that you want to come and be involved and visit the neighborhood and come to the meeting, that would be great. Julie is our acting secretary at the moment. So please make sure to everyone that's there, including board members, put your information in the chat so she can get that. And I'm going to hand it over to Dorian.
Okay, thank you. So part of our work in public health has taken us through many different fields and iterations, and we are so excited that we have pro bono with us tonight. Shannon's going to talk about the work they do. We met pro bono and worked with them in the time of the pandemic when we were partnering with the UG Mission, and we had our COVID clinic over by the Hub building. And so during that time and a little bit before that, we vaccinated over 1,500 people, a lot of them children. We had the honor to serve many of our unhoused community and clients here with the UG Mission. But during that same time, we would be rolling in with all of our gear in the mornings, and we would see a line all the way down the street and animals everywhere, and pro bono was there doing the incredible work of caring for them. So without further ado, I would love to hear more about what you guys do.
Hello, everybody. I'm Shannon with Pro Bono. I am the only paid employee at Pro Bono, but my last day is tomorrow. Spending my last week with you guys. So thank you. No, Pro Bono is still going to be amazing. It's all good. But I'm happy to be here and sort of just share how how we impact the community that you guys are all a part of. So if you don't know, Pro Bono provides free veterinary care for the pets of people who are homeless in Lane County. I've been kind of starting it off with a little story. So I want you to imagine waking up to an eviction notice on your door. You and your beloved dog Luna have to leave your home soon. And with no reserves to dip into, you know you'll both have to couch hop for a while. So you start looking into housing resources, only to learn that the waiting list to receive housing support or HUD is 2 to 3 years long. You know that transitional housing may be an option, but your dog isn't up to date on vaccines and isn't fixed yet. That means you'd have to go without your best friend if you chose that option. In that moment, you feel helpless and scared, thinking about both of your futures. You've already lost everything, and the idea of losing the one thing that brings you security and comfort is just too much to bear. Then a friend tells you about Pro Bono and their free veterinary clinics, and you're able to breathe a sigh of relief. You know that your dog will get her vaccinations and a voucher to be spayed, as well as food, new toys, and a new pet bed, all at no cost to you. You would do anything to ensure that Luna has a roof over her head, a belly full of food, and the love you provide each other. And with that, you are finally able to get into housing with your beloved dog Luna in tow, where you can work to build a brighter future together. It's dogs like Luna, as well as the human who loves them, that depend on our services at Pro Bono. So for the past 25 years, since 1998, we've provided free veterinary care to the pets of people who are experiencing homelessness in Lane County. We operate 2 free clinics a month, every second and fourth Sunday of the month, at the UG Mission, right across the street in the back of this warehouse here. And, you know, as you said, yeah, on those mornings, you see cars literally lined up all the way to the other street. We'll see typically around 50 pets at each clinic. At each clinic, we offer essential veterinary services, including well pet exams, vaccines, spay and neuter vouchers, administration of flea and tick preventatives, limited prescriptions, such as antibiotics and steroids, like if there's a skin condition going on, that sort of stuff. We also offer euthanasia with communal cremation, and we distribute food, treats, collars, leashes, harnesses, pet beds, litter, all of the extra little stuff. And we do that all for free. So volunteers are the heart of Pro Bono. We have 90 community members that generously donate their time each year. The board is comprised of local animal lovers who volunteer their time to oversee clinic planning, operations, and financial sustainability. Each clinic is staffed by 1 or 2 volunteer veterinarians, 2 or 3 veterinary techs, and a lot of students from OSU School of Veterinary Medicine. Most of our medical volunteers are from OSU College of Veterinary Medicine. We have a co-coordinator and a coordinator that manage the clinics, and the volunteers report intake, they fill out rabies forms, they complete and distribute spay and neuter vouchers, they hand out all the food, all the supplies, all of that gets done all by volunteers. And we see, like I said, we see about 50 animals each clinic, and that's a total of more than 1,000 pets served each year through our clinics. In addition, we have many volunteers who cannot donate their time, but they donate goods. So they donate medicine, like expired medication, they donate food, flea products, equipment, they'll donate procedures or spay and neuter vouchers. We also are fortunate that several local businesses also donate food and supplies to our clinics, and these donations, in addition to what we receive from individuals and families, makes up the bulk of our, or the backbone of our clinics. Now, throughout our journey, we have, it's really cool to be a part of the clinics. Like, it's really amazing to go there, and you start to, the more you go, you start to see people again and again, and it's cool to be able to be the place that people can trust. And it's like you get to know not only the animals, but you get to know their people, and it's really, really special. And you get to watch them through all these phases of life and how they change and alter, and it's very cool. Each story we hear serves, like, our mission, you know, our mission is really about like enriching the human animal bond and how important that is to people, especially people facing houselessness, where you're losing everything and everything is so liminal all the time. And your pet is your one constant. And Luna's owner, Tracy, she shared that pro bono has been so helpful. She had been freaking out about what to do with her dog. She tried calling veterinarians, and the fees were just too high. And she just said, Luna is my everything. I don't know what I would do without my dog. And so, you know, we were able to help her get that leg up so that she could start exploring other options for housing and for moving her life forward in a way that felt right to her. As we continue our mission to provide our veterinary care to pets like Luna, we recognize the vital role of the community. The support, like, is how we run. We're all volunteer run. Most of our money comes from individual donors. We do maybe 10% in grants. So it's mostly individual donors and community members that make up our efforts. And this year alone, we've seen 160 pets. We've provided 30 spay and neuter vouchers. We've administered 180 vaccinations, provided 107 pets with flea and tick medication, offered 81 wellness exams, provided more than 500 pets with food, as well as more than 400 pets with supplies like leashes, collars, toys, and pet beds. And for the past 25 years, Pro Bono has been alone as the only nonprofit doing this work. And actually in all of the central Willamette Valley, there's Portland and there's Medford and there's us. So we're the only ones that service a huge, huge area. And in the last 5 years, our community has seen a 72% increase in homelessness. And as costs continue to rise and homelessness becomes a reality for many folks and their pets, our services feel like more crucial than ever at this juncture.
How many percent?
72%. Yeah, 72% in the last 5 years.
And where is that?
In Blaine County. Yeah, it's grown substantially.
Say that again.
72% increase in homelessness in Blaine County specifically. Actually, Eugene per capita has the highest homeless rate in the entire country. More than New York City, more than LA, more than, yeah. So now that I've tugged your heartstrings just a little bit, you may be wondering what you can do to help us continue this work. So like I said, we're run entirely by volunteers. We're always looking for new friends and community members to assist at clinics, to participate in community events, and to support our work in other ways. You absolutely do not need veterinary experience to make a difference. Our clinic is sort of really cool in a way that it's the only place that you could come into with absolutely no medical experience at all, and we will teach you how to do it. You don't even need to have your future goal be to be a veterinarian or be in vet med. We will teach you how to administer food and take medication. We'll teach you how to vaccinate. We'll teach you how to do all these things. So if that's something that interests you, You want to learn how to inject a cat with something? We got you. Yeah, because we are a teaching clinic.
Well, will that eventually include spay and neuter? Because I noticed the Eugene spay and neuter has gotten very restrictive.
Yes,
on,
yes, we know that,
animals.
yes.
Yeah.
So we provide vouchers for spay and neuters. Our goal is to increase the amount of vouchers we can do. As far as like doing spay and neuters ourselves, we are not set up for like any surgical procedures at all. And we don't see that as a likelihood, at least within the next 5 years. Mainly because it costs a lot of money and we're all volunteer run. And so finding vets to continue to do our clinics twice a month is hard enough, let alone finding veterinarians who are willing to sort of come in and do surgeries and things like that. So our goal is to expand our connections, and we've worked, yeah, go ahead.
Well, with that being said, I wonder, because that has really reduced, probably pet ownership, rescuing those pups, along with the high cost of pet food now.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of surrenders. Is there a way that perhaps in the future that this organization could lay us on with the current spay and neuter clinic to get that spay and neuter possibilities back up where it was?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. Yeah, that is possible. It would be up to the board to decide how they want to.
And how do you
Forge
get that
those
agenda
connections.
on there as a possible future?
Right now, I think the board is focusing on, and the organization in general is focusing on just maintaining the clinics. That's the hardest thing that we're doing right now, is just maintaining. You need a vet in order to even run the clinic. Otherwise, we can only do food and supplies. And so getting volunteer veterinarians to just be even more involved, and it's only 5 hours of every 2 weeks, so it's not even that much time. But you guys probably know this as well. At Greenhill, like, veterinarians are in low supply, and they're extremely overworked. And even finding 5 hours extra a week or every 2 weeks or whatever can be really, really difficult. So we're working on trying to increase our volunteer pool specifically with veterinarians. Yeah, of course. So we currently we are in most need of non-medical volunteers. So if medical interests you, cool, but really we need a lot of non-medical volunteers right now. And non-medical volunteers help with things like handing out food and supplies at clinics. You see that gate across the street. So someone has to stand at that gate and direct traffic so that way you don't have 50 people all coming in at one time and everything is really orderly. So we need people that are willing to stand at the gate and sort of help manage the flow of clinics. We need people who are willing to help, fill out those spay and neuter vouchers, fill out the rabies certificates, and do other administrative tasks like filing, or I don't know. Every clinic is so different. The needs of the day are so different. But somebody who's flexible and can kind of be in a position to help, basically. Additionally, you can help support our work through like monetary donations or donations of food or supplies, cat litter, leashes, harnesses. We do take new and used. If your pet does not like a food, bring it to us. Like, we will take it. Yeah. And same with new and used pet supplies. As long as they're not like completely eviscerated, chewed up old dog toys, then like we will pretty much take it. We are also looking to expand our board. So if you are all interested in joining an organization like ours, we're really looking to expand our board with community members who are interested in advocating for pets and the unhoused population here in Layton County. The time commitments are anywhere from like 5 to 10 hours a month, so it's not super time intensive. You don't need to go to every single clinic to be on the board. You do not need to have any vet experience at all, just the ability to be collaborative and remain mission driven. And then like I was talking about, we're also looking for more volunteer veterinarians to add to our veterinarian pool. We have a board vet that is amazing, and we have another vet that is also amazing, and they donate so much time to our clinics. They are both retired. They both keep their license just to volunteer at pro bono. And that's kind of the state of veterinarians who are volunteering in the community right now. Just because, like I said, they're very, very overworked, and finding even 5 hours of time can be really, really challenging. What I will say, if you know anybody, ask them to come to one clinic. That's like such a good way. Like, you don't need to come to 12 clinics a year. We're not asking for that. Come to one, check it out, see how you feel about it. And that goes for veterinarians, that goes for potential board members, and that goes for non-medical volunteers. Come to a clinic, see how it is. It's a lot of fun to be at one. It's really cool. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So what's the best way for us to give you in-kind donations? Do you have a physical address, or how should we go about that?
Yeah, good question. So Eugene Mission will take donations for us. You can just drop them off right across the street. That's like very in the neighborhood. Also in the neighborhood, training spot, which is just on the other side of the bridge, like across from Washington Jefferson. They will also take donations during business hours. Tara, the owner there, used to be a board member, and she still acts as a donation site. She's an awesome person for that. Yeah, yeah.
And the mission round is open from 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. And Shane over there does a really good job of getting things.
Yep, he'll just put it right in front of our door and walk it in.
Are you ready for questions?
Yes, oh, please.
So,
Yes.
do we have any questions from anyone that's online? Please raise your hand if you have a question, you want to make a statement. Any questions in the room?
Oh, yeah, I got one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're mostly donation based and not so much grants.
Mhm.
Have you like pursued grants heavily? Did you just find that there isn't grants that align perfectly with how you're set up?
Yeah.
What's the grant market like?
Good question. So yes, we do get grants. We have gone after grants before. The reality with grants is that they are time intensive and they are restrictive in nature. And so finding a grant that we are able to basically have the time and energy to like maintain the restriction of that grant can be difficult. And it can be hard to find people that want to, there are a lot of organizations that work with animals, but it can be a little bit more challenging. It's easier to find grants if you're like working with low-income kids or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
When you're talking about animals, it's like your pool goes from this to like this, and then you're all fighting all these like, could probably fight for the same grants, you know what I mean? So you're all fighting for the same grants, and yeah, they're just very time intensive. So we always call it like the cherry on top. Like it's a great little addition to have if we can get some grants that we feel like fit with our programs and we're able to like basically report on them and do what we say we're going to do. If we feel like we can actually be accountable to the grant, do what we say we're going to do. But that takes like, you need people who are willing to step up and run the programs that you're suggesting and all of these things. So you kind of have to balance what's our dream, but what's our reality, and how can we kind of figure out how to meet in the middle there. But yes, we do grants. I've applied for several grants this year. So yeah. But no, most of it, like 90% of it, 80 to 90% of it comes from individual donors, community members in Eugene and beyond. So you guys are like our lifeline here. So thank you again. For
Fantastic, thank you for coming and know that, you could always reach out to Toriandra and we could always be a platform for you to continue to do the great work that you're doing. Thank you very much.
I will just add one little thing, that if you're interested in volunteering, donating, joining the board, any of those things, just go to our website, probono.org, probono.org. BONE, because it's cute, BONE, yeah. Yeah, oh, also, sorry, I have to add one more thing. I have to talk about our events coming up. So I'm gonna also tag in Green Hill here. Bark in the Park is May 19th, so please come to that. We will be a vendor. Also, May 22nd, right here at Oakshire Brewing, we have a pint night there. So please come drink some beer. $1 from every quart pint will be donated to Pro Bono. So if you can do that, do it. And then on June 15th, way down in South Eugene, we have a fundraiser, an all-day fundraiser at Mod Pizza. You just have to go in and say you're there for Pro Bono. And 25% of your order total will go to Pro Bono.
Which pizza did you say?
Mod
Mod,
Pizza, in South Eugene, like by Market of Choice and
Okay, like I said, Mod.
No, it's MOD.
MOD, Mod Pizza.
What was that date again?
That's June 15th, and the Oakshire is May 22nd, Wednesday, May 22nd. And Bark in the Park is Sunday, May 19th. Where? That is at Alton Baker Park.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank
And
you
you
so
can feel
much.
free to join us for the rest
Yes,
of the
thank you
meeting
so
if you'd
much.
like, or
Thank you, Jen.
Brianna.
Yeah, of course.
we're running about 10 minutes.
Okay, all right. Oh, thank you so much. We need to learn more about.
Yes, of course, of course.
So, all right, so we just figured we'd make this all about pets tonight because it's so cool. And, part of our work and our grant funding has been, again, public health, public safety, all the different elements of disaster resilience. And so we'll talk more about that later, but we're really grateful to have partnership with Greenville tonight because they kind of set the pace for our animal world, as we call it, Eugene, and we're grateful that we're here today to talk about preparing for pets. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to share my screen so that you can stare at the pictures instead of me. And before I start, yeah, I want to put in a plug for Pro Bono as well. So what wasn't said was that Pro Bono is really the first grassroots organization that has been focusing on pet and people in this community at 25 years. Now recently with the move of the Community Veterinary Center, it's the only organization focused on pets and low-income people in this community in Eugene and in the heart here. Yeah, absolutely. If you have time, ability, volunteer, donate as well in answer to the spay and neuter question and increasing that. Cash donations to Pro Bono go to clinics like Greenville actually to do the spay and neuter work or to other clinics in the area. So the cash donations actually turned into an increase in the number of spays and neuters that Pro Bono can issue to clients.
Thank you for saying that.
Sure.
And thank you for being a partner for us.
Oh,
We provide
sure,
two
yeah.
spay neuter vouchers a month, or a month for us.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
See if I can do this. No, entire screen is the window, so we have feedback. I'll do that again too. Okay. So topic is preparing for pets. So I'm going to assume that at least 70% of us here have pets because that's the national average of pet ownership. Everyone in the room is 100%. You're close.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so that's usually what I'm speaking. Margaret, here for
Next
yours.
question is how many?
Right, exactly. So, so we're talking about disaster preparedness. And I want to say there's a lot of conversations about disaster preparedness. And if you have been anywhere, you know the reason why. We've seen an increase in the number of fires locally. We just had a massive ice storm here. A small thing called COVID. All of those have kind of upended our lives and made us think a little bit differently. I do want to say, though, this should not be a stressful conversation. So the whole concept of preparedness is to not be at that high elevated state of what am I going to do? What I'm going to suggest are small little things. We should think about it in times where it's not so stressful so that we can lower our stress about disasters. I think everyone right now is at a very heightened level of anxiety because of all that we've been experiencing. I was asked a question recently about what my favorite, what are they called, season? I had trouble answering because normally it's like summer, fall, and that's fire season. And yeah, one of the things that Greenville has done in particular is really start helping the community in response to disasters, because part of our mission is about connecting people and pets, advocating for that relationship, promoting the human-animal bond. We're all aware of how much our pets are our family, and I think the entire country is starting to realize, and certainly Lane County is starting to realize, that it's not just like a family that we have, they're family that support us, right? They support us emotionally. They give us purpose and reason for being in many situations. For clients that pro bono sees in particular, that human animal bond is sometimes the only bond, and part of our mission, part of public health is really starting to dive into this, treating pets as complete family members and incorporating disaster response, coordinating disaster response around pets or people with pets. I say this. So what that means is that everyone is moving towards, if there needs to be an evacuation shelter, pets come with you. Okay? If you are needing to shelter in place, there are questionnaires that go out about, do you have pets, do you have children, do you need electricity for your support systems, things along those lines. In a disaster response scenario in this community now, when an emergency response center is set up, a coordination center is set up, I'm there representing people with pets and also community organizations that are helping to aid the disaster. And that has been a great positive shift in this community. And so, so one thing to know, the most important thing is, if there is a disaster scenario, bring your pets. In order to do that, you need to prepare for that eventuality. Cool. Okay, so some of what I'm going to talk about may sound really, really basic. There's a reason for that, and it's just, let's normalize it. Let's do the sorts of things that we do on a regular basis, but think about, like, what are the things around us that we rely on that we might not have if it's a disaster. So what would happen if we lose electricity for how many days? Was it just recently? 10 days. We're in Springfield, it's 10 days. So we have to stay at home, right? If there's an ice storm, we can't leave our homes. We can't, if we're unhoused or if other unstable housing, what does that mean for us and our pets? If we need to, for instance, rely on a day-to-day basis to feed you, you need to go out and get food or something along those lines, that might not work in a scenario where you have to shelter in place. And so one thing to think about is food and water, right? And not just think about it on a daily basis. So, like, what's tomorrow bring, but what might 10 days bring? And work towards a system where you actually have that on hand. And I realize that I may be saying that for people who have very little resources to even think beyond a day. In cases like that, there is actually a support mechanism. So that's one thing to know. So in situations where a Red Cross shelter needs to be set up, for instance, where you are going to need additional support and the community needs to help provide that support, as I said, like, animals now are being factored into that equation, and green will be called in. Through our pet pantry program, we have a truck actually that we can go out and we can bring in large scale supplies. And then with the most recent ice storm, we set up supply distribution. We have the fairgrounds here, set it up in Springfield as well, went down to Cottage Road, Crestwell, and sent down supplies there. So for those of you who are able, have a set of containers, a set of bowls, extra water, and multiple days of food. Medications and records. So I'll admit, I'm not the best person to be speaking about keeping, like, paper records or in an organized fashion. But let me tell you why it's important. Oh, come on. So it's important because if there's a scenario where you and your pet are going into a group housing situation, it's important to know, is your dog vaccinated? Is your cat vaccinated? When was the most recent vaccination? Sometimes the medical records for with veterinarians might come with other things too, allergies, things along those lines, that it might be helpful to know if they're written down somewhere and they can be handed over to someone that someone can see that, you don't have to worry in a stressful moment as to what you can remember as to the last date things are done and things along those lines. And so, encourage everyone to have somewhere. And this is advice for yourself as well. You should have all your personal records in like a binder or something. I would say my advice is most people have smartphones at this point. Is take a photo of it, have it somewhere in your photos, still delete it, and then go through it. But we should all have our own personal records too, in some location in case we need to evacuate, and just have your pet records.
Should you rely on your smartphone or actually have hard copy stuff? Because that's gonna be kind of, because I have mine in my phone.
I
Not a
think,
good idea.
so I would say do first what's easiest, get that one done, and then, of course, an extra hard copy would be convenient.
Yeah.
But, it kind of depends on the disaster scenario, like, and we all talk about the warning systems around here, but they're trying to improve them. But usually warning systems are somewhat last minute. And when you have to think about like all the things you're gonna grab, most people are gonna grab their phone at this point. Like, I can't leave my seat about it at this point. So I would say that's probably easiest for most people, but yeah, absolutely paper records are nice plus. License tags. So as a kind of a fallback, often having license and tags is a decent thing. It helps in case you are separated from your pet. There's also a lot of information that one can gather from that license information. For instance, the current status of rabies for dogs. So it's like, if we know what your license number is, we can tell you whether or not there's a current rabies vaccine associated with it. So that's really helpful. Photos. So obviously there's a phone, hopefully we all have pictures of our animals on our phones. Sometimes it's, if you have a paper copy of that, it's also sometimes helpful as well. But photos with like identifying marks, like my collie has a freckle on her left leg. So she's a collie and she's a purebred collie. So the reality is she looks like all purebred collies, right? Except that she has a freckle. And so it's not, you need marking and identify. Vaccination records kind of mentioned. Oh, medications actually are separate. So medications, I would say, so like bring your medications with you. So if you have a dog that's on allergy medication or something, or a cat on medications, make sure that that goes with you if you're evacuating with your pet. And again, not the worst thing if it fails, but it's helpful. And then knowing your veterinarian. So that's the other fallback. And what we've seen is like the ice storm, which pretty much affected all of Lane County. The most likely scenarios are not going to be like entire Lane County disasters. They're going to be smaller scenarios of fire in a local area. In a community like this, there's some things that might happen that are going to be really localized. If you have your name of your veterinarian and the veterinarian isn't within your local disaster, it's really convenient because then they have all the medical records. They could easily access your medications as well. They could bring it in from the outside.
On the medications, like a month, 3 days, how many, especially if you have.
So, in disaster preparedness, they used to talk about 3 to 5 days. Now everyone's talking 10 to 14. So
Okay.
be 2 weeks ready, essentially. And that would be, on the list of preparedness, again, I'm not the ones to speak on this, but like, you have a vehicle and you have gas in it, never let it go below half full. That's one of those things. It's like always be prepared that like if you're in a scenario that you cannot access resources for about 2 weeks, you have the ability to survive.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So if you regularly take your animals to a veterinarian, this one's like pretty obvious because you're used to removing your pet from your home situation, bringing them in a vehicle of some sort to another location where it's not their most familiar location. So in order to do that, you generally need a harness for your pet, a collar, a leash, a crate of some sort to easily carry, depending on the type of animal it is. If you don't already have those things, our suggestion is to start thinking about it and acquire some of those things in prep. I have on here also possibly an exercise pen. And the reason this, I actually gave this presentation not too long ago to someone, and they said, what size carrier should I have? Like, how long can my cat stay in my little carrier that I have? And the answer is not that long. So the right size carrier or place that you want to have your animal in for 24 hours is definitely large enough for the pet to stand up, move around, lay down comfortably, and even stretch. If it's a cat, we want a large enough space that you could also have a litter box, food requirements as well. And so the way to accomplish that, and the way to accomplish that when we do shelters, remote shelters, is by actually moving the cat's smaller carrier into a very large dog crate. Cat has the comfortable carrier that it's familiar with in case it wants to hide in that carrier, but it could also come out, go way over here for litter box, go way over here for food. If we need to set up a remote shelter, like a Human Red Cross shelter with pets, also, we're the green one actually, so we get house or supply those crates, so you don't have to worry about bringing your own crate for that scenario. But similar to the COVID year, where we had COVID and a fire at the same time in this community, everyone was sheltered in hotels because we couldn't do congregate sheltering because it wasn't safe. In those hotel scenarios, we actually ran around to all the hotels and provided that food and supplies there. That was a challenge. And I would say that for those who can afford it, in a scenario like some of those that we had, considering that you might vacate your home and move in with like friends, family, or a hotel in the area, like a lot of people in this community, that's actually what their solution was. In that scenario, you're going to want to bring your own crates too. Now, again, if you're capable of doing that, you're also probably capable of buying those things anywhere. So, not usually critical, but something to think about. And I will say, for those who want to start prepping on these things and have difficulty with them, Greenhill occasionally has those things available to get. And just come to the shelter during normal hours or give us a call and we can arrange that.
Yeah, could I ask, let's say I have a pet and I'm starting from a blank slate, I haven't done any preparedness. What's something that I should prioritize? What's something that Greenhill might have fully covered? What's something, if I want to rely on Greenhill, you have no support for? What should I be completely self-reliant on?
So I would say, let's see. So if you are fully capable of supporting yourself and the pet and your job and stable housing, all of those things that you need to take your pet to that are the majority of what we're talking about. So it's going to be able to safely transfer the animal from your home into a veterinary scenario. So with your vet, unless you do a global life situation, but so it's those things. I would say also training your pet to be comfortable within the crate, or having a harness put on, or a collar or a leash. So this is one of the things we saw in the COVID years, right? So people got pets, didn't socialize, didn't go out a whole lot, and we all hunkered down. And so some of what we're seeing are behavior issues relating to like not wanting to walk on leash, not being crated, not feeling comfortable alone, because they don't want their person life. And so starting to train your pet to that is also part of the reason we can't help it. Like we can't help with that side of things at all. That relationship that they have with a collar or crate or a harness.
Yeah, actually, that's a great answer. You can't really buy equipment for behavior.
The dots, yeah, so right, like it's a good time. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna keep on signing, yeah.
Yeah, so how about it at this point, a lot of questions may be answered.
Yeah.
By the time that he's done. So if we could,
Yeah.
make a note of our questions in our mind, and if he hasn't answered them by the time we get to the end, then please feel free.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
almost there, because the last items are comfort items. So these are things that obviously that we think about, normally, but in the moment, like grab your pet's favorite toy, chews are the other thing too. So like a lot of us will eat to comfort ourselves, chew on things, gnaw on things. So, having those things, certainly for dogs on hand and bring them. Those are sorts of things that we'll provide also if you end up at a shelter. Favorite blanket, things along those lines. And then, as I said, like, if you need to evacuate, take your pet with you. So one thing I will tell you in this scenario, like, I've met a lot of the fire people that will come in, the emergency first responders that will come in scenarios, and they will, they are incredible people. Like, during actually one of the fires, we were getting calls the night about firemen who have rescued pets out of the fires up in Mackenzie. So incredible, but we don't want to put them at risk. So if you're evacuating your home scenario, we're gonna have your money. That is it. Yeah.
Okay, so actually we caught up on time. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I have one for you. I would love to know more about your system. You said that during emergencies, you go and deliver pills or food to, how does that system work for you? How do you do that? Very hard.
It is, yeah. Yeah, so we have, we just jumped in and did it, starting with the holiday farm fire. So as the largest animal welfare organization here, we do receive the vast majority of the information, some of which we pass on to other organizations like Pro Bono. But so we already funnel through. People are donating crates, they're donating food and supplies. Holiday farm fire for Lane, coupled with COVID for Lane County, changed the emergency picture in this community drastically. For animal welfare, what it did was it finally brought attention to animals in emergency scenarios. And Greenhill, because we just finished constructing our new facility, had the capacity to take in large scale donations. And just actually at the beginning of last year now, finished a warehouse to fully wrap all this together. So that we have the capacity to store, with the human capacity to help distribute. The ASPCA just granted us a vehicle to help distribute as well. And all of that has been, like grants, very targeted, very specific, don't exist anymore. Like, you had to be in the right place at the right moment and in order to do it. Unfortunately, this community and Greenhouse has been here to kind of support that infrastructure growth. We're now working with public health, actually there's a program for our house, people on transitional emergency because of the emergency declaration. Being unhoused in Oregon now is great. It's great. It's not great. It's great if being acknowledged as a problem. But and what that's meant for pets and people is that the state of Oregon said people with pets are people.
Could everyone hear? It's on the line.
Yeah,
Can you all hear him talking?
Yeah, agree.
Okay, great.
Okay, so to finish with, so that money that came from the governor down here came back through federal government to the state of Oregon. Governor then said, this is how you use it. And Lane County, he was actually the first county, Lane County on this one, first county to actually apply for the money and receive it. Lane County then reached out to the organizations that might be able to fulfill certain things. one of those requirements was that money was set aside specifically for people with pets, for providing supplies, medical care. And so, actually, for Women and Greenwell, I believe, are the organizations that are helping distribute that. And, yeah. Yeah. Sure.
I have a question. So when I think of Green Hill, I think, all right, we have plenty of volunteers. They're doing well. All their programs are well funded. What are some gaps that you've identified, and how can we advocate for you? What's the best way to do?
That is good. Okay, so what I would tell you is we are only doing a fraction of what's needed.
Yeah.
I would say we are one of the more stable organizations. A lot of that has to do with focus on infrastructure, stability. I've been with the organization for, in this role for 17 years. Sasha's been with us like over 10 years at this point. She's our operations director. It absolutely, like, it's not self-sustaining, right, without donors. So absolutely continuing to fund it through donations is important. Volunteers are always continuing to be important. We volunteers everywhere actually in this community, and I know like United Way is refiring up their volunteer program, which is great because one of the things again that COVID did, it dropped people out of volunteer work pool. And we've all organizations have been working on retraining their volunteers, acquiring new volunteers, retraining people to do the same work that they were doing a number of years ago. And the need hasn't gone down. So in fact, we are, in terms of intake, in terms of number of services that we're providing, just for the same things we were doing prior to COVID, we're up like 10% higher than prior to COVID at this point. And we're doing it with less volunteers. And on top of that, we've added disasters to it. So we're also doing this whole other program and all this work with community public health as well, which is all new. So, so continuing donations, continuing volunteering. I would say that the other thing that's really important, Green Hill has contracts with this community. City of Eugene has a contract with us. Glenn County has a contract with us. Springfield, where there's a handful of small ones. A couple of years ago, you may have heard that funding was being cut to the animal welfare program. Yeah, well, it didn't thanks to community outcry. Yeah. So funding for so what I'll say though is funding for Green Hill's sheltering program has remained constant now for 5 years in a row. So even though we've all seen inflation, even though there has been an increase in everything, our funding level is the exact same as it was 5 years ago. If you take what we, for the first contract in 2012 that we received from them, and you look at what we're getting now, which is higher, it still doesn't match inflation. So we are doing significantly more services for this community at literally like less money inflation adjusted. And we're probably going to hear that the city of Eugene is cutting again. They have not said that yet at this point. We haven't heard anything actually. And the same with the county. And so what I would say is, if you hear that there's going to be funding cut to animal services anywhere, the reality is that we are helping our community in ways that apparently not everyone is seeing. All of us who have pets see it, but I would say top leadership doesn't always see it that way. And so it is going to take the community to speak out again to say that that's not really what they want. Okay.
Claire? And then Janet.
Oh,
Hi,
Janet.
so my name is Claire, I'm an at-large member on the Woodbury Community Council. Thank you so much for coming tonight. So my question kind of intersects with housing. I've seen a lot of for rent signs and ads these days that very largely say no pets. And like with the bathrooms question, whether you have them or not, people are gonna go. People are gonna have pets, right? So I guess my question is, if you're aware Green Hill or other organizations are advocating at all for more renter friendly, owner of pets friendly I don't know what you would call it, like this,
Yeah.
you call it laws or advocacy, you know, but like allowing people to have the choice of where they live when they also own pets.
Right. That is an awesome question. The answer is no, we're not really doing any active advocacy on that. We would love to. But it's mostly a capacity issue.
Definitely.
And that also being said though, at least where we're having the connections and we're being asked to the table. So there are some things that are happening for people in crisis in this community. I forget what it's called, the stabilization center that's being proposed for Martin Luther King areas. So that's going to be a station that's kind of like, it's a waypoint from either from the hospital back out or prior to hospital. We've been asked to be involved in that in order to ensure that the facility that they're building, the system that they have incorporates pets with people. So it's not permanent housing. Verifying that, I do think there's a lot that I would like to see, particularly this community do in terms of advocating for types of housing and affordability and accessibility and things along those lines. And pets as well as an obvious one. I will say that there is a lot of information out there that says that people with pets are more stable renters. Yeah,
And my two cats would agree.
yeah, I mean, yeah. The interesting thing is like if you're a property owner, if you want to make money at it, the reality is you can go online and you can figure out for yourself that it actually makes financial sense to incorporate pets into the picture. So it is kind of a hard road to convince people that can't see this already, but
For sure.
but we are yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to address that because I don't have my rental on the market now. I've had some very good tenants in the past with pets that, and it boils down to me personally, I love pets. It's the responsibility of the pet owner to make sure that the property itself is reasonably maintained. And if you are a property owner, I've taken measures. I don't have carpet. I have all the waterproof flooring. I make sure I have a fenced yard. I've been a little bit scarred with the last crew because they had like 20 dogs and they used the hallway, the entire house as a doggy park. $30,000 later, so I purposely haven't done it. I'm trying to get to the point. But the point is that if a person, I'm not opposed to pets, and it's not even a pet problem. It's a human.
Yeah.
And if you're big enough as a pet owner to recognize that and be the responsible pet owner, you're embraced at least by many others that have property. It's just when it gets utterly destroyed with that. And I made a point to have a fenced yard, and when I get to the right point, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think it is about it is about a human connection.
Yes.
And essentially what we're talking about are pets that are companions.
Yes.
And
They're
healthy relationships
Yeah.
too. So there's times where relationships aren't healthy.
Yes.
So 20 dogs in the home. I'm sorry, that's not a healthy relationship. And like, I'm gonna find that one right now.
It was excessive, but during COVID, there wasn't much, but
Yeah.
I learned from it. It was a learning curve. It was hard to get through it, but it's made me to realize on the other side what I can do to my property to make sure it's.
That's a great point. You have a question?
Yeah.
No, what I did want to suggest is you were mentioning about cages and a catastrophic event. One thing I think that if your pet is used, scent, a blanket.
Yeah.
being an out blanket's relatively easy, and a leash and collar. If you have your pet, accustomed to that scent, so when they're out of the home and they have something that they can, is familiar, it would be far easier. So bare bones, I would think, a blanket or something that they're scent friendly to.
Yeah.
Leash and collar.
Yeah.
The rest
Fantastic.
of-
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from anyone in the Google chat? It says low battery up there.
I'm worried, yeah. My bad, good for we can sponsor this one. Nice.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. I've done Terry about 35 years, so I was surprised.
We were teenagers when we met.
I mean, pretty close. I was like, well, never mind. But I'm done. Barely drinking age
Oh, yeah.
at that time. Well,
yeah.
what the heck? I don't know.
So I brought, for everyone here, disaster go bags if you want them. They have the checklist of what to do. They have flexible water food dishes in here and
And
bread.
I saw a clever idea of making a quick pack. If you see a pet out on the street, they have like a little plastic dish with kibbles and a water bottle
Yeah.
and some little knuckles. Neat
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. I would have one myself.
And also for folks to know, for our disaster resiliency event coming up this Saturday, Greenhill will be with us partnering. We're so excited to have them there, and they'll have their table, and they'll be offering another opportunity to learn more. You guys are scheduled to chat at 1 o'clock, so we hope you can talk with, of course, more folks in the park. So thank you. So I appreciate it. Yeah, good. So yeah, I'd like to just take a second and talk about that event too, if we can. That's
Yeah, you have.
this
We're
is
good.
so interesting. Lake County's, our area, we've had 4 declared emergencies in 5 years. So some would say that's been really stressful, which it has, but it also opens up a really neat time and bridge for us to talk about things. And I like what Carrie said about normalizing these conversations. We just have to kind of not freak out. We just kind of slowly ease into getting it together. And it's neat that our community-based organizations, which are already working to strengthen the social safety nets for our communities, we're in a really good place to, thank you, Shannon. We're in a good place to start that work. So Whitaker Community Council's been in partnership with the Oregon Health Authority, and we started our disaster resiliency program in 2023. We had our first event back in November, and it's been a slow climb because we had big lofty plans of kind of creating localities with businesses that could be specific points for disasters. But then in kind of researching and talking to people, we found that they were pretty much beleaguered with the community issues at hand. So it's kind of shifted now more to a grassroots feeling where we will be working to do like Map Your Neighborhood initiatives and more kind of connected with our neighbors rather than the local businesses. But with a little nice combination of those, I think we'll be on our way to feeling more prepared. And there's so many different aspects of it. And so we hope that through these events that we're hosting, we can learn more. One of our partners will be Friends of Trees coming out to just talk about what you do in your yard. You want to deal with heat mitigation, landscaping techniques. And that's neat to kind of think about it from the systemic level of where you live, working outwards, and then how those efforts would help your community. So we'll be working through a couple cycles now of like addressing the specific issues. We have great vulnerabilities from the fact that we could have industrial hazards with our railroads. We have our river. So if we kind of isolate each of the things and then prepare for those individually, we'll be better prepared. And it's funny, in our public health and safety committee, we worked really hard to kind of identify those, and it's kind of running joke. Well, the one thing that we don't work on, that'll be the thing that happens. And so in our last ice storm, we did an interesting kind of impact survey where we sent out, to pull the data from our residents and businesses. Well, what were the major things that impacted you? And we found pretty funny things like, oh, well, if I had bought the little yak track things, I would have been able to walk around. So gathering that data has been really helpful. So yeah, we hope you come out. It's going to be a really fun day. Like Margaret said, it'll be 80 degrees, which will be
Well,
nice.
what do we need
Yeah,
for the event?
let's get there.
Coriandra.
The funnest part of this event.
And please share this with your neighbors.
Yes, please.
Doesn't matter if they live in the Whitaker or not.
Yeah, come on down. We have 3 different speakers, like I mentioned, Green Hill. We have Friends of Trees speaking, and we have Andy Davis, and Andy is head of NCOM for Eugene, and so they'll be training folks about how to use the family radios, which is a great step. Moving, you can communicate when crisis happens.
And we have applied for a grant to get those correct.
Yeah, that would be great. So that data then reaches higher emergency managements. But yes, we have a really neat, hopefully, grant in the works that would empower us to have better communication with everybody. We don't know yet. So, but what we need for that event, we need contestants. We are hosting a zany Recipes for Disaster event where we'll have contestants competing with a very odd, disparate grouping of food. These are like, if you want to grab your mayonnaise packet and then you want to get a little can of horseradish and some clams and somehow whip that up into a palatable thing that we'll have our guest judges bravely tasting. Yeah, just the wildest collection of stuff. So we have Brun's Market donating. We'll have some items for DG Mission. I'm grateful for our sponsors, but it should be really fun. And the categories are crisis comfort food, disaster desserts, and then the extra hard challenge of making something that is both gluten-free and vegan. So there'll be 3 winners, and we'll kick that off at 1:30. So we would love it if you could come, and if you really want to get brave and compete, it's going to be the weirdest and best cooking experience you've ever had.
So what happens if you win the cooking competition?
If you win the cooking competition, you're going to get a fabulous gift basket. Yeah.
Green house, you know that.
All the rest of the shelf stable items. Yes.
You know how to.
Yeah,
we get some spam.
right, yeah.
When I've been inviting friends to participate in this event, the most frequently asked question I receive is, can you use heat to prepare the food?
Yep. That's the
If you
fun
could
trick.
speak to what supplies will be available,
Yes.
it might help like ease
Ease the tension. Sure.
or increase the excitement.
Right, very good point. So we have these, we're gonna be very judicious with how much water you can even use. So, everyone will get their own little emergency packet of water. And, there is no heat because you might not have heat for the first couple of weeks with there's all utilities. Cascadia really goes as we expect. People will feel it in Denver. So we just assume it's just what you can make without heat. So
Essentially, it's just a bowl and utensils. You have no refrigeration, no kitchen. It's the supplies and you.
And so you have the space to
yeah, we'll have
prepare
some
something.
containers. We'll have, folks will have their own cutting boards, mixing bowls, can openers,
And it's
knives.
on site.
Oh, yeah, everything will be there, and then
It'll be
we're
just like camping without a fire
it's gonna be like
or ice chests.
yeah, a chopped show without fancy.
Yeah, I described it as like channel, April 2020. Or like day 5 of the ice storm.
There you go.
Correct.
Perfect.
It could be lots of fun.
It will be lots of fun, yeah, and
So how many cooks do we need?
we're hoping to have up to 10 competitors. So come hungry. Margaret will be-
I got volunteered to judge. I didn't even, I just do what I'm told.
So 3 judges, 10 competitors, and it should be really fun. So also we have a live band that day. We have Boxcar Figaro coming, and we have our partner Shift Community Cycles will be there. They're having a free pop-up bike shop, and they'll be helping folks think about how we adapt our bikes when we have no roads as passable. So You know, can we get a trailer hooked up to a bike, and can that navigate our water supply, all those things. So a lot of bike ready preparedness and adaptability we'll be talking about.
Another thing I think is real important, UX sends out that 2 weeks in your bill, with your bill.
Yes.
The number of water emergency water sites, I'm shocked they have not, I haven't seen a map of where those places are. I know there's one on Howard. I think there's one up on Crest, but that would be important to maybe have it on display if this is about emergency. Where do we go for potable water?
Yeah, great point, Janet. Very true. We will have our partner CERT there, and I know that our former person, Megan Kemple, which was a former, I'm sorry, fellow CERT member, she was in charge of our map the neighborhood. I know that Megan Kemple has moved on to be the coordinator for that new water system. So I think that our CERT team that will be there with us on Saturday may have some of that preliminary information.
Yeah, I think it's very important.
Yeah.
Also, we've got a local, the stove guy on 6th. He provides them for in India places where there's hardly firewood, and they're very efficient. It would be nice to do an invite for that because it's a.
You know what's great, Janet, and unfortunately, most of this was planned before you were a board member.
Really?
But now, yes, this event has, Gloria has been working months and months to create this event. This is for a grant that we received last year.
Yeah.
So, but please make sure that you come, and we'll make sure that you are notified in advance
Yeah.
of the Health and Safety Committee meeting.
Yes.
And everyone is invited to the Health and Safety Committee meeting, whether or not you're a board member or you just live, work on property in the neighborhood or just want to participate. Please come to the meeting, and that's cool. Those are great ideas because we will have further events.
Yeah, because we don't know the next event that you're.
No, but it'll get scheduled.
Yeah.
We have to do permits with the city and lots of things.
And also another part of that too is, as a council, we are focusing our grant process now in other disaster resiliency programs. So the grants that I submit are really in the hopes of creating more resources for us. The one Margaret mentioned would bring satellite hubs for broader communication. I also just finished one would be really great. That's the big trailers that would be landed here in Eugene, which are kind of immediate resiliency hubs in crisis and can take care of up to 250 people. And they have solar and sanitary, all that stuff. So we're really working through these kind of channels right now of all grants, possibilities. So because that's where we get the input, or where I get the input is from our Public Health and Safety Committee. Everybody puts their heads together and really co-locates what we need and what to go after. So
The most important is water.
yes, yeah,
You have to have it.
water is crucial.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
You
Any
have,
questions?
You still have 10 minutes, aren't you? Go.
Oh, I'm fine.
Can I comment? I think Janet's idea of having something physical is a great idea. Maybe a future project, we can have kind of a signage billboard that's permanent, not digital, that everybody knows, hey, in a disaster, go check the board. They'll have all the resources in the Whitaker,
Yeah.
where to meet up, where are all the resources, and it's a permanent picture, a sign that we pay for.
That's a great idea, and I do know that pre-COVID that there were some parks and there were some places that had things just like that.
Yeah.
However, in our environment today, they don't last very long.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we can.
But it would be great. It's a great idea to choose a location and then go post something there if something happens.
Yeah, I hope through the grant cycle, which will go through June of 2025, that will give us another year to kind of ramp up and normalize these things so that people know you need this, you come to your mission, that. No, see, if you need a beer, you go to the.
Yeah.
Clear on the the trailers that you mentioned just now, what do they provide? They're not housing, they're like a battery charging? What-
Yeah, it's a 40-foot Conex trailer, and inside of it is packed super tight with everything people need.
Oh, that was the one.
Then Chris, right.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked about that last meeting. So the city of Eugene was gracious to work with me on potential sites for these, because they need to be placed on publicly owned land.
Yeah.
So, we'll hear back whether we got that grant, and if we did, we'll have to start pivoting and work on that, because, yeah, the trailers will be really an interesting asset. They're meant to be more of like a community placement where people come and gather, so our future disaster resiliency events would be held in their proximity, so that the event would be such that you would come and learn, okay, well, if you need your medical systems or devices charged by solar, this is how you would do it. And the hope would be you would be able to replicate the knowledge either in your own home or know to come to these trailers in the event of a crisis. So,
And is that exclusive to Ward 7 Whitaker?
No. Ours would be our specific grant yeah, but I know that the Bethel School District also has applied for that. And I know that a community group in the Jefferson West Side Jefferson. That neighborhood association also has one, in support of one. I think it's the People's Collective did one there. So, with any hope, it would be a scalable process, which then could spread with further grant funding and really change kind of the face of how disasters go in Wayne County.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Do we have any questions from anyone in the chat and Google? On Google Meets?
If you want to cook, just write to whitakercommunity.council@gmail.com.
Yes, pay attention, Doriandra. Yeah, Cindy, we know we're gonna put you down as a contestant, right? Cindy, are you gonna come cook for us? Come on, you know you wanna.
Yeah, he does. He could tell.
She does. Okay, thank you very much, Doriandra. Great as always. Okay, so, real quick, we are gonna, pivot and, so, I made lots of posts, talked to lots of people in the neighborhood. So we have, basically what, during COVID, the Whitaker Community Art Team got a couple of grants. We actually did some sidewalk painting. We did the free wall. Doriandra was in charge of all of that. She worked with local artists, made that happen. And then people wanted to take a bit of a break. Last year, a couple of people and myself, just on our own, we took over the Whitaker Art Walk and just did the best that we could. So this year we've reactivated the Whitaker Community Art Team. Basically, it consists of 7 or 8 type A personality power women. I will tell you, when you walk in the room, you could tell. But it's a great thing. Actually, lots of things are getting done. We're really excited. And we actually have Leo Floyd here to talk about the last Friday Art Walk and about the Whitaker Community Art Team.
Hi. Long time listener, first time caller. Hi. Was I supposed to come up?
Yeah, if you want, yes, please.
So I don't have a lot to say about this. Margaret, has encouraged a handful of folks to come together. Myself, Magdalena is also here, and a couple other people in the community, which has been really nice to reconnect, which is exciting to then take that further to engage with the community and the artists that we're so lucky to have in this area, in this neighborhood. So, and the town. So what I have for you is that we are re-engaging with past venues in the neighborhood. We've got about 15 confirmed. The first art walk will be the last Friday of this month. which I believe is the 31st. And mostly, I think, as far as if anyone has any interest in supporting, right now we're working on updating the website and finalizing details of venues. So anyone who's an artist or knows an artist or has a friend who's an artist who would be interested in displaying their artwork, I think is what we could use the most of right now. Otherwise, it's whitakerartwalk.com or whitakerartwalk@gmail for more information or if you have questions, respectively.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Do we have any questions from anyone on Google?
I have a question. So this would be my first Whitaker art walk. What's it like?
Where are you going?
Is it like public? Is it kind of like a First Friday situation where it's art on like private property, or is it all on public property, done in the community? Or is it more like you go from like business to business and they display art done in the community?
So it is different in the sense, this is my first year of being involved, so
Okay.
that's why I'm a little hesitant.
No, it's okay. So what we do is we have, right now we're working on connecting venues with artists. So we have some repeat, I will tell you that Oakshire, they have an artist that's featured every month, 12 months a year. And they want to be part of the art walk. They're actually changing, their artist changes on the last Friday of the month to coincide with the last Friday art walk. Sam Bonds has an artist every month, all year long. But we have places like Pro and Cart. And they do not always have an artist, but they are participating in the last Friday art walk. Ron LaFont, which is next to the Hybrid. So the Hybrid is a gallery. And it also, they have lots of community events there. It's on the 3rd. If you see the house that's before that, there's a long mural, and sometimes the gate's closed, sometimes it's open. I know Ron, he's great. If the gate's open, it means people are welcome to come in. But Ron is an artist himself, and he opens his home. And when you go in his home and you walk through, I mean, sometimes I'll go through in an art walk every month just because I'm in awe of what he has there. So that's his own private property.
Gotcha.
So we want to support local business. We want to support local venues. We want more people involved. We also, that as far as the art walk goes, like this year, play. And some people are like, play is not in the Whitaker. Well, I saw a map, and there's actually an area of the Whitaker that is a commercial zone. It is commercial for the Whitaker. So this will be Play's first art walk. All we ask is if you're a venue, that the venue is in the Whitaker, and we will support wherever the artist comes from in Eugene. Or, if somebody happens to be visiting from out of town, whatever the case may be. But we do, as you guys already were told, we have about 15 confirmed venues. My guess is that by the 31st, as long as we have artists, we'll probably have about have a website. For the first time, we didn't have a website before. That was just recently built by the Hybrid, which was great.
And that will show you all of the venues that are participating.
Correct, and we are working on creating a map that you can print off yourself. So right now, we're working without a budget. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Or look on, or use your phone to just look at the PDF. Either way.
Correct, I'm working on a QR code. I'm working on sending a proposal to the city so that we can get some WCC funds, which are still available until the end of this month. So that we can, we want to unite the community. We want to bring the art back to the Whitaker. It has been known for art for years and years and years. And so not only will it help the artists, it will also help the venues. There's businesses, we hear all the time about businesses closing in the neighborhood. And, you know, if you can, Nelson's is joining the Art Walk for the first time. They didn't join last year. Nelson said absolutely, he wants to do it this year. So we want to support our local businesses, which supports our local residents. You know, which also supports our local artists.
I love that.
Yeah, it really is it's a great thing. And as the Whitaker Community Council, it's really important. I mean, that's what we're all about, is community. Do you have anything else to?
I was just gonna say if there's anything that anyone would like, we were kind of debating over the viability or practicality of paper maps, like who still uses paper? Lots of people. So apparently, just if there's anything, anyone who's participating here or knows of businesses that they think would be interested and but maybe are on the fence. The committee is definitely composed of folks who are very happy to help support. Big part of our conversation was how can we make this process, how can we empower the venue participation while also increasing the ease? And that would include also the participation from the attendees and for people who show up. So I interpret it as an opportunity to engage with each other and promote art and
Right, so it's promoting our community in a positive way that's good for everyone.
so, yeah, thank you.
And thank you very much. And so what's great is that the committee are people that have not participated in the Whitaker Community Council before, or maybe one of them did many years ago. It's a new committee, they're new people, new ideas, fresh, excited, and are all very supportive of what's happening here and very supportive of bringing art to the streets. And last year we did some great things. We had some pop-up markets. I have talked to Whitaker Community Market about perhaps doing a pop-up market during one of the art walks as we get into the summer. And you know, it really, it will be fun.
Yeah.
And I can enjoy myself. I love to go on art walks. You'll have to come with us.
Yeah, I think this will.
I don't know if Elliot's up to hanging out with us, Miranda.
I-
Yes, Claire.
Has the Lane Arts Council been looked into this at all?
I'm sorry?
Has the Lane Arts Council been looked into this?
Well, do you have a?
No.
So we talked about that in our last meeting, and yes, someone, it's in the minutes. Do you remember?
I don't remember who's gonna talk to Lane Arts
I
Council.
thought we brought them up because they do something similar
They
with
do the
matching the
first-
artists.
The first Friday.
No, but they last year offered to advertise for us
Yeah,
and pick up our social media.
Yeah.
And we talked about that at the meeting. And speaking of which, anyone that wants to come and be involved with the committee, my goal this year is to take these meetings and fill this room and to, you know, have 50 people online. My goal is to engage and let's do some things that really matter and count to the community. So engaging the Whitaker is what I want to do. So if you're interested in getting involved in this, please just email whitakerartwalk@gmail.com and someone will get back to you. But as far as to answer your question, yes, we talked about it and someone volunteered to reach out that knew them. I think it was Gloria actually. And Gloria or Anna.
I'm all for piggybacking off of the big ones with the money, so.
Correct. And
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, they were offering a small grant and we missed the time frame there. But
So there's
So tell me, what do you think that we can do, since you're here, what can we do to make the council meetings more appealable? What can we do to draw more people?
I mean, I joked that you just caught me at a time when I was horrible. So. Sorry for
No, it's a little, I'm always not for a little humor. Sarcasm
Well,
goes
one
a long
thing I
way.
was wondering is for the event this Saturday, if you are having any, which I don't really have to be standing for this part, be part of the conversation. If you're offering any opportunity for folks to, I don't know, just kind of thinking like what you think you need. And then versus like what you might need. And that discrepancy
no worries.
might be kind of, I don't know, it just might be kind of interesting to do like a poll.
Yeah.
Like have all of those sheets or something, like, what's your top three or something?
Then you
It's not
need,
like
what
a
you need is in case of an emergency.
Like your top three for your go bag or something.
Oh.
To the meeting on my phone.
Okay.
They're getting all.
As far as engagement in these meetings, like I said, I've never been to one. It seems inviting. I actually am very happy to connect with my fellow community members.
And the food is, if you haven't tried it.
It's great. I did eat some. Thank you so much.
There's to-go boxes, everybody.
That is very timely.
Yeah, so just so that everybody knows in the room really quick, and we are, not next month, but probably the month after. Maybe next month, we're gonna, Beth is also, an at-large board member, and Beth, works here at Minton. But, the mission has made huge changes from what it used to be like. Now people actually, if someone shows up and they are high or drunk or whatever the case may be, they offer them 14 days to get clean and sober. And they have a program that they go through. Can you correct me if I'm wrong? They have 14 days to say, okay, great, stay clean and sober. At that point, what happens is that they give them housing. And they run a full commercial sized kitchen. And they have cooks that come in, professional chefs that come in. This was actually prepared by who?
This is actually prepared by me with, women who are in our life change recovery program with some guest house recoveries who they came in on a 3 to 5 shift today as a life skill to put together a charcuterie board for us tonight. So, and they had a great time with it. I just said, you've got creative license and, gonna have to create and all the little bits and pieces that we had. Charcuterie boards really lend themselves to using up leftovers. So no matter what you do, it's delicious because it's just little bits and pieces of good little snacks. Not enough for meal, but certainly enough for our charcuterie board.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so they are teaching them marketable skills that when someone, and if you follow them on Facebook, you can see they have actual graduations. Where people graduate, they get their driver's license, they get their birth certificate, social security card, they get an apartment, they get a job, they have a skill that they can go and work. And they teach them how to wait tables, how to work in the kitchen, how to cook, clean, whatever the case may be, and help them get a place to live and reintegrate themselves into society. And they are doing a fantastic job, and that is one of the blessings that came out of COVID.
That was the huge crucible that came out of COVID was just really strong, a really strong residential community that people are known. We know them, we know their names, we know their skills, we know their passions, we know their hopes, and we work with them through navigation and resources to get them to the other side of that.
Right. So we will, I believe in 2 months, we're all gonna meet here about 6 o'clock. Maybe 5:30, depending on what Beth has in store for us. And the city has asked me to set up a time when we have a general meeting and, the people that run the neighborhood associations that are the liaisons that work for the city themselves would love, they've asked me to help schedule a tour so they can have a tour of what's happening now at the mission. And so we're going to schedule that for a meeting, and as well as the board, we will really encourage everyone to come through because the mission is a huge part of our community. You know, lots of things happen and people should understand that it's very different than what it was 6-7 years ago. You drive by, you can see the difference. So clearly we can't ask any questions. We will.
Elliot, thank goodness for you.
We will, yes,
It's all
Elliot.
running here.
Elliot, thank you very much. You know, I will tell you that next, you know, everybody's always welcome. We do have a board meeting next week. The first 10 minutes are open to the public, and then after that, we ask that everybody mute themselves. But it's all open to the public. You can listen as we talk about our nonprofit. We pass motions, vote, do that kind of thing. Other than that, I think that considering all of the hoops that we had to jump through, Elliot, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You did a fantastic job.
I'm impressed how well this went, honestly. Out of all the things.
And, oh, yes, thank you. And remember, so next month, we have a special election. We announced it a month ago. And we're gonna have a special election. We have, I believe, we can have up to 15 board members. 4 of those board members are executive members. So we do have a secretary position open. Right now, the interim secretary is Julie Bowman. She's doing a fantastic job. We're really very lucky to have her. And she has my support 100%. And we also have, that will leave 4, Brianda, we have 10 board members?
Sorry, I'm looking at pictures of my pet.
Yeah, 4 at large left.
Correct, we'll have 4 at-large positions left. So if you've read online that there's an election for the secretary position, it's not just the secretary position. If you missed the election last month, if you want to run for an at-large position, please come down and join us. You know, let's be active and doing things to make our neighborhood more livable. So we will see you all next month. In order to run for the board, as everybody knows, you need to have attended 1 meeting this year. So anyone that's listening now, you qualify, even if it's the only meeting that you can do. All right. Hey, thank you very much, and we'll see you all next month. See you Saturday. Yeah, we'll see you Saturday.
So,
Yeah, I did. Thank you. I did.